morning, everyone. Good to see you again. Thank you for tuning in on a Wednesday morning. And we're going to start this day off, as we always do, with a verse. And our prayer is that will inspire you or be used in your life in some way. My special guest this morning is Jeff Feld. And
Good
Jeff,
dear.
well, Jeff is one of the pastors I really wanted you to get to know because actually, at Saddleback Laguna Woods, there are four of us that are pastors who minister to the people of Laguna Woods, and not just our own congregation. And we'll tell you more about that in a few minutes. But so, Jeff, I always ask the people for a verse that's important in their life. And would you read a verse for us this morning,
Get my
Jeff?
glasses so I can read. Yeah,
That
yeah. We're in
that
Acts.
we all relate
I
to.
know. We're
Yeah.
in Acts 2, and we're reading out of Acts 2:42 today, and it's about the fellowship of believers. They devoted themselves to the apostles' teaching, and to the fellowship, to the breaking of bread, and to prayer. Acts 2:42.
And so that passage, Acts 2, give us the history of it. Where does it fall in the history of the church?
Well, this is early in the church, and it was an encouragement that they, and obviously early in the church was under oppression, and it wasn't necessarily, they weren't meeting in large gatherings, so they were meeting house to house in small churches in everybody's homes, and so it was encouragement to do that.
And that's really an important point. I mean, essentially, the church didn't start having church buildings, I think, for a long period of time.
Hundreds, yeah.
100 years.
Yeah, later.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, although today we think of the word church, and we often think of a building, but really the church is the people, and the people from the very beginning met in homes.
Yeah, where two or more gathered, basically.
Yeah,
There's
yeah.
church. It could be right there in your home. It could be in a coffee shop, wherever you guys are at.
Well, the reason, and I appreciate you reading that verse, but the reason I wanted to bring it up with Jeff, with you, is because that's your role within our church. Jeff oversees all our small groups. Actually, what's your title?
It's a membership fellowship pastor,
Okay.
which is really about welcoming people into the church, welcoming them into the family, and encouraging that.
Jeff actually has a nickname too. If you see him on Sunday, do you even know what I'm thinking?
I have no idea.
He's known as the hugger.
Oh gosh, yes.
He is a hugger.
Yes, yeah.
Now that's good because we balance each other out so well because I do hug.
Yeah, yeah.
And I'm learning from you.
Yeah,
but
you're pretty good. You
I'm,
are. Yeah.
I'm only in the
I
rookie
know.
stage.
We all have
But
steps of growth.
But
yeah.
it comes so natural for you. So when you come, Jeff is just such a friendly guy, and he'll greet you as well as our other greeters and such.
Yeah.
But Jeff,
Amazing.
your role within our congregation. So once the people come, most of our people are in what we call small groups. How big is a small group? I mean, most
Yeah.
of the people watching have probably heard the term. And another term that is interchangeable is home Bible study.
Yeah, yeah. I think a lot of times people are more familiar with the term Bible study or life group or just a group of fellow church friends and even
Okay.
neighbors that
Yeah.
are going to just worship and study the Bible and just encourage each other.
So they meet in the homes.
Yep, primarily.
How many within Laguna Woods?
We actually have about 85 right now. So we actually have an amazing, matter of fact, if you take a look at the number of people that are in most groups probably have anywhere between 4 to 8 people. We actually have more people meeting in small groups than come to our Sunday morning services.
Well, and that is an excellent point. And that was one I'm glad you brought it up because people watching, some may be more comfortable meeting in a home close to where they live with their neighbors
right.
rather than going to church. Because going to church for the first time in many years, that could be a little scary.
Absolutely.
Or at least unknown.
Yeah, if you've never been to that before, maybe you had an experience that wasn't good, but you easily step into a friend's home, and
Yeah.
especially when there's food. Food's
And,
important.
right, and most have that.
Yeah.
But if there's 80 within the smallness of Laguna Woods, there's some study close to them, or
Absolutely.
they can go a little bit further maybe and find just because some of the groups are on, well, some are couples,
Right. Right.
some are,
Men's, some are women's, some are mixed, and
yeah,
it's really myself. I'm in both a couples group and a men's group.
you are, okay.
Yeah, so there's time together with couples, and then time just to talk about men's stuff. So yeah.
Actually, I am too. It's valuable in my life
Oh my
too.
goodness, life changing for me.
It really
Yeah,
is. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. God used small groups to change my life. I don't think I would be here in full time ministry if it wasn't for what God did through small groups.
Why is that?
It
What
just
happened?
it really grew me because especially in the couples group we were able to focus because it's really you study the Bible, but then it's really about sharing your life, and it's a safe place that you can talk about things that first of all important to you, things that you may be challenged with, things that you're praying for that you have, and you have a safe group of people. But then also in the men's group, you're able to talk about things that you struggle that you may not share with other people or in mixed company. And so it's a safe place just to get that stuff out there and have other guys be praying for you and encouraging you in your walk.
That's such a good point because even at the size of our church, which is good size, but it's not huge. There's probably, our services average, we have two services and they average around 250 people per
Yeah,
service or so,
yeah,
or maybe a little more. But there's no, there is definitely interaction, but there's no way you can share your life with the person sitting next to
yeah,
you. You just say, hello, how are you? Great to see you. And
yeah,
that's really about the gist of the
yeah,
conversation. But small groups allow you to share what's happening. And as you just said, I want to emphasize it, to be prayed for
yeah, yeah.
by your friends.
And to pray for others.
And then
Yeah,
you get in turn get to pray
yeah,
for
yeah.
the others.
Yeah, it's really amazing at just what God does within that intimate group where you get to share your life, share encouragement. And what I say, most of the time in
Yeah.
group, I mean, Scripture is the focus, but a lot of times that will cause us to then think about things. Well, what is my next step? What does God want me to do next? And that really is a lot of what it is. So you can interact and talk about that and encourage each other.
I totally love it. I know, well, so Jeff is who you would talk to. He would help you find a group, but you're not alone in this. You
Oh
have
my goodness,
other
yeah, we have an
great. I
amazing
know that
team.
Carolyn Cummings is one, and
Yes,
who
Carolyn,
are the
Marilyn
other at that?
Lazat, and Kim Knotts, and there's a few others getting ready to start. But yes, we have
Great.
an amazing team of people that were also blessed by small
Yeah.
groups and want to help other
And
people.
I use those names because a lot of the people watching, both those, all
Yeah,
those people know lots of people who live in Laguna
yes,
Woods. So you don't have to talk to
yeah.
Jeff. You can talk to Carolyn or Marilyn or who is this?
Kim Knotts just joined the
Kim.
team.
Oh,
Yeah,
oh, Kim, of
yeah,
course.
yeah,
Great.
exactly.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's amazing. So small groups have been a part of my life since my early Christian days. And 2 weeks ago, when we had the children sing, one of the parents of the children who were singing, in my very first small group, we were young marrieds, and one of those couples had the first baby in the group,
Wow,
and her name was Katie. And Katie showed up at our church with her child,
love that.
and we're still friends to this day with those
Wow,
people. Those people have been our friends for 40 years.
that is such a blessing. That is,
I
yeah.
So I am your fan. I appreciate what you and your team do.
Oh, we're just so grateful to help. I mean, it's one of the things that we just feel so blessed by that God's design of this small group that we just want to share it with everybody. And I know
Yeah,
that, like you said, some of us may not feel comfortable stepping into a church, but we can step into a friend's home.
it's so
Yeah.
true. Well, Jeff, thank you for coming on today. When you read from Acts chapter 2, that literally was right after the church just started. So this ministry in homes has
Yeah.
been for 2,000 years approximately.
Yeah.
I hope you consider it. Come on down, email us at the email on the screen. Jeff will answer your email personally, and thank you. We'll see you tomorrow. Jeff's going to be back on. You'll enjoy it.